what needs to be explained thing. None of this is particularly new. The style of presentation is that this would be the key setting, everything kind of equivalent at about age 50 in this diagram. So you've got, what before age 50, you've got some things going down and some going up. So you've got this vocabulary actually going up to about midlife. And digit, symbol, paired associates, spatial relationships all been higher at around 20 than they are at 50 and going pretty much straight down after that. And then you've got actually vocabulary increasing to about 60 here and then it's kind of dropping down to 50 level again. Yeah.
In the Salthouse article, it talks about paired associates, and I keep forgetting what that is.
Paired associate learning is a thing where you're learning. You study pairs of words together, and then on the test you get one word, and you respond with the other one.
And there's no.
They're unrelated.
They're unrelated. It's not like apple seed, but it could be like corn and egg or something, like whatever. Unrelated pairs. Okay, thank you.
Almost, virtually always. Yeah, they do these. They do these kind of things that don't have a lot of obvious connection with real life, perhaps because you want to make sure it's new learning. That's what you're trying to get out in the layout. So you can't use stuff that's kind of more real world because people are coming in with different abilities to do that.
This might seem kind of random, but has anybody looked at where it kind of looks like it's really sloping off is like around retirement age? I mean, are we looking at it as like people retire and we make them retire because they're no longer cognitively able to do the same job? Or maybe they retire and then it kind of goes back to the use it or lose it thing, that they're just not using it, so they start to lose it. The only thing that doesn't fit is vocabulary there.
But you're losing it from way back there.
Yeah, well, that one for sure, but with everything else,
this is the way these scores are figured. Is this is the average at 50, and then 1 would be about a standard deviation. So you've already lost a couple of standard deviations before you get to retirement.
Well, hopefully at 50 you're not the one who's still down in the trenches. You're doing more of the admin stuff or
well, see, that's what I was thinking, because it looks like it kind of mellows out a bit between like 35 and 50-ish. And maybe at that stage you're a little bit higher in the food chain, so maybe you're doing slightly more cognitively demanding things and not just crunching numbers.
I
don't like the sound of that.
Here's the crossword puzzle effects. So again, this is set where the average is about age 50 on reasoning and knowledge abilities, and then what he's doing here is the triangles things are for the bottom 25% of how many puzzle hours people have been doing crosswords, and then the circles are the top 25%. So you're looking at the extreme ends of the distribution for crossword puzzle activity. I mean, this is serious. The Alzheimer's Association, at least until recently, had this on their website.
Did they look at how many crossword puzzles they did? Because I mean, I could easily spend that amount of time on one. Which wouldn't say a lot for me.
But that's a difference in my household. My mom is 85, almost and a half, and she does more crossword puzzles now than she ever did. And she does them daily, and she always did all sorts of kinds of puzzles. But I've noticed that she doesn't search for words nearly as much as I do.
I have to deal with it, my
but notice.
She doesn't search for the words.
Here's your top, here's your bottom for reasoning, age 20. Straight downhill, overlapping.
So you're saying I'm never going to be able to do a crossword puzzle?
Well, I mean, you might make some case for... But the top 25% are doing a little better than the bottom 25%. Not tons, but better when you get out to like 65 to 75. So maybe it's a little bit of preservation. Knowledge is, you're actually it's kind of interesting that even these also overlap. But, actually. Knowledge ability is lower. You go up to like 50 regardless of your crossword ability. And it pretty much stays overlapped all the way through.
Okay, 2 questions. First, I thought that crossword puzzles were the ones that give you like the clue for like horizontal or vertical, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's different than from like a search and find ones that she was mentioning, right?
No.
Or is it-
Like
meant
Sunday
searching
New York
for-
Times, black spots and
Yeah.
it's a crossword puzzle.
She meant like searching for words,
Oh, okay,
not
searching.
No, when my mom,
searching for
when my
words.
85-year-old mom speaks, she doesn't search for words as much as I do.
I
Is what I
you
said.
meant like searching
No.
on the.
As much as I search for words in just speaking.
I like
Okay.
word searches.
And then the other thing is that I think like it has a lot to do with culture because I know one of like the biggest problems for me when I do crossword puzzles is just that my parents are immigrants, and so a lot of stuff that we talk about at home aren't like the stuff that appear in the crossword puzzles. Like I don't know half those movies that they
We just-
talk about. They're like
It's true. I
Think about the stuff that we've learned already is,
and I
at
get a lot more.
best, you would expect crosswords to teach you how to do crosswords, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I
And
get
my
any
experience is it's even more specific than that, because I do crosswords all the time, not because I think it's going to help me preserve my abilities, but just because I get a kick out of them.
Yeah, you probably enjoy it.
But yeah, when you travel around and you go to different cities, even like, yeah, I find that what I've gotten really good at is the LA Times crossword. I go to some other town and I'm not as good at those. I go to Canada where not everything overlaps in crosswords.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's like different style of crosswords, so you don't get as they cross each other only at certain letters. And you don't have a complete overlap, and you don't get as much of a clue. Right? So those are like really different.
Seems a lot easier.
I think what people enjoy about it, and why it's kind of compelling, as an idea that's helping your memory or something, is that what I find all the time is you get these cues for things that you haven't thought about in like 30, 40 years. And, well, I still know that. I still know who the kid was on the Andy Griffith Show.
Opie.
Which comes up a lot in the LA Times. and you discover that there's stuff that you learned that are in domains you never pay any attention to. Like there's actually like a few rap singers, rap stars who are enough in the popular culture that I know how to identify them in crosswords, even though I've never paid any attention. I can answer some questions about the TV show Dallas, which I never watched. I think that kind of stuff is interesting. It gives you this feeling like, God, I know all this stuff.
Pop culture.
But it doesn't appear to be doing a whole lot to actually preserve your mental ability.
Is anyone doing like similar research on Stockholm?
I don't think it's been around long enough that they do it. On the
It only
Sudoku.
just became popular.
Yeah.
Maybe like on my Zoom, it tells me like which ones are wrong.
This comes back to the kind of expertise issue. These are, the filled-in circles are the cross-sectional rankings of chess masters by age. It goes with this scale, not that the scale matters a lot. So you get steady increase in rankings up to 30, preserved out to about 50 or so, and then kind of falling off the rest of the way. Longitudinal follows about the same pattern. One of the points that they make in the monograph, the Herzog monograph, is that expertise in chess appears to work such that what the older masters are able to do is if they can rely on recalling familiar strategies, familiar board setups, they outperform young people. If they have to analyze a new setup or a random setup, they don't do as well as young people. Again, there's that kind of trade-off. The way that preserved content part of intelligence, or the knowledge part of intelligence, can help you out via expertise. It's when you're able to process at that more global, expanded level, or where you can remember solutions rather than have to work them out. But when you get thrown back to the level where the mechanics are really important, then you've got, typically you end up with an age disadvantage. Although we'll keep, even that gets a little bit better. Cognitive activity levels, again, this is Salthouse's plot. He's kind of making the point that